Have you, yeah, I'm talking to you, ever bought something that looked so perfect on paper, only to discover later that there were hidden fees and costs associated with that purchase that were much higher than expected? Well, folks, that's happening to homeowners across the state of Connecticut and right here in Southbury. If you have a leaking roof, a failed HVAC system, a property tax bill that suddenly jumps up hundreds or even thousands of dollars, a homeowner's insurance premium that keeps climbing year after year, and the worst part, nobody freaking told you that this might happen. So most people don't think about these costs until they've already moved in. So if you're thinking of buying a home in Southbury, Naugatuck, the Naugatuck Valley, or anywhere in Connecticut, stick with me today because I'm going to show you the hidden costs of homeownership that can catch even smart home buyers by surprise. So hey friends, as always, my name is Lisa Antrum, your friend in real estate. And if you or someone you know is thinking about making a move to Southbury, the Naugatuck Valley area, or anywhere in Connecticut for that matter, I've helped hundreds of families with their real estate transactions, and I would love to add you to our client family. So do me a favor, click on the link below. Feel free to email me at the email below or text me at my cell phone number below, and I would be happy to help you move home to any of those areas. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about the costs that nobody warns you about. We're going to start with property taxes. One of the biggest surprises for Connecticut home buyers can be property taxes when they go up. Many buyers focus on their mortgage payment, as they should, but they forget that taxes and yes, homeowners insurance can change. Connecticut law requires every town to conduct a property reevaluation every 5 years to ensure that properties are assessed fairly. So right here in Southbury, the last time there was a reevaluation done, that was in 2022. So if you're buying a home in 2026, you can expect that next year in 2027, yeah, I can't talk, your taxes are most likely going to go up. Why does this matter? Well, it matters because Connecticut home prices have increased dramatically. In fact, Connecticut home prices have risen by more than 60% since 2019. So as municipalities reassess properties, some homeowners are seeing significant increases in their assessed values and tax burdens. So here's what you can do to get ahead of the game. Before you go into contract, you can see what the assessed value was the last time it was assessed. So you're gonna take that and measure that against what you're purchasing your home for. The assessed values, remember, are assessed at 70% of what the town feels that the value is. So they don't, usually every 10 years or so, they do a physical inspection where they come inside, but don't let them in if they knock on your door. Just kidding if the town's listening. But anyway, so usually every 5 years, the town will do, you might as well just call it a reappraisal. So they're gonna appraise the home, and whatever value they feel, they will update the tax website, and they will let you know. I believe they start doing assessments in October of next year, so 2027, you should start getting notices on that. So you wanna just kind of stay ahead of that. And you know, the mill rate in Southbury is 30%, so you're gonna take, I can do some math, but 70% of whatever you purchase your house for, let's say. Figure the mill rate is 30%, so you can figure out that calculation, and I'll have a link below to tell you exactly how you can figure out your mill rate. Make it nice and easy for you. So you can also ask yourself, okay, what if they do reassess the value of my home and I feel that the assessment is inaccurate? Here's something that most homeowners don't realize. If you believe that the assessment is inaccurate, because mistakes do happen, right? You do have the right to appeal it. In Southbury, applications for real estate assessment appeals are generally due by February 20th each year. So February 20th of 2027, I believe, falls on a Saturday, so I would just tell your brain, plan on doing it by February 19th. Hidden cost number 2, homeowners insurance. Now, homeowners insurance is another expense that's climbing quickly. Most people understand that insurance protects their home and their belongings, but what they don't realize is how much premiums have unfortunately increased like everything else. So costs have risen significantly over the past few years. Why? Well, construction costs have increased. labor costs have increased. Insurance companies are also paying more for reinsurance, which is insurance for insurance companies. What a racket, right? You got to pay your insurance whether something happens or it doesn't, but it's always best to be ahead of the 8 ball. So if their costs increase, obviously it's going to get passed along to you, the homeowner. So for buyers on a fixed income, which I like to say everybody's on a fixed income, right? If you get a paycheck, you get a paycheck. To me, that's a fixed income. But anyway, it can have a major impact on affordability. So when you're calculating your monthly housing payment, don't just look at the principal and interest. Remember to include taxes and insurance, which most mortgages, your lender is going to do that anyway, but just keep in mind, somewhere in the back of your head, obviously you know what your total mortgage payment is, but make sure that you break out what the taxes are and the insurance are. Have them written down somewhere so you can refer to it, so you know that there's a tax increase coming. You can kind of figure out, again, what the increase is going to be. So make sure you're budgeting on today's costs, not yesterday's. And when I say today's, by today I mean always look to the future. So another hidden cost, and this is a big one that a lot of people talk about, is utilities. Now, Connecticut consistently ranks among the highest cost states for electricity, which is sad, but it is what it is. So many new homeowners experience sticker shock when they receive their first electric bill. So especially if you're relocating from another state, that can really, really be surprising. But the good news is that Connecticut is a deregulated state market, which means it allows homeowners to shop for suppliers and you can compare rates, so sometimes that will help a little bit. So a few minutes of research can potentially save hundreds of dollars annually. Another thing that you can do is you can, or your agent can ask the seller's agent to provide utility bills for the last 12 months. It's very easy. The sellers can get it. All they have to do is call their insurance carrier. Sometimes you can even do it online. And this will give you an idea of what your future utility bills are going to look like. I believe in Southbury, according to Energy Rate, the monthly fee, I should say, for utilities was somewhere between low 3s and high 3s. So between $300 to $380 a month. So that's good to know. Hidden cost number 4, maintenance and repairs. This one gets almost everyone, myself included. The roof is fine until it isn't. The HVAC is fine until it isn't. When I bought my house 25 years ago, I believe a week or so after we closed, and we had a home inspection, the furnace just went. So we had to buy a new furnace that we didn't plan on. The fence looks great until you have a storm, a tree hits your fence, your beautiful fence, and knocks it down. Again, this happened to me as well. It was a winter storm, branches came down, knocked down the fence. That was another thing that at the time we did not plan on. So home ownership isn't just about buying the house, it's about maintaining it. Many experts recommend setting aside between 1 to 3% of your home's value every year for maintenance and repairs. So if you're looking at a home that's costing you $500,000, that's anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 a year. Now that's not going to be every year, of course, but it's just something to keep in the back of your mind when you're thinking affordability for yourself and your family. Another cost is HOA fees that not everybody thinks about all the time. I always counsel my clients to look at that. So HOA just stands for Homeowners Association. A homeowners association is when you're buying a condominium or a planned unit development, a common interest community, which means that basically you're paying a fee to a third party and they are responsible usually for the upkeep of the outside. So they'll take care of snow removal, cutting the grass, maintenance of the roads, things like that. You'll find out what it entails depending upon the property, but it's always good to know that. Now, here in Southbury, Heritage Village is a great example of that. So right now, there are 93 single-family homes on the market. Of that, 59 are for sale in Heritage Village. So Heritage Village is a 55-plus community. It's a great community, but depending where you buy in the community, your HOA fees can vary. They have tons of great amenities, but you have to make sure that that's something that works for you. And keep in mind that just like anything else, HOA fees can go up. So make sure that you factor that into your monthly mortgage payment as well, because what will happen is you'll pay your mortgage to your mortgage, or your mortgagor is what it's called, the mortgage lender, and you pay your HOA fees to the third party who is managing the condo association or common interest community. So always understand exactly what those fees cover and whether future increases are possible. I say future increases are always possible, so always think about that. Another cost is the cost of compromise. Now this one isn't financial, it's emotional, but it's important. Sometimes when buyers fall in love with the house, they sometimes ignore things that they may regret later. Maybe there's no home office. Maybe the commute is longer than expected. I know, especially where we're located in Southbury in relation to New York, a lot of New Yorkers move to Connecticut because the cost of owning a home in Connecticut is much cheaper than what you can get for the same house in New York. So a lot of people will live here, work in New York. So think about that commute, because going into the home, you might think an hour, 20 minutes, hour and a half isn't that bad of a commute, but can you really do that for years at a time? So make sure that you do think about that cost as well. Maybe the yard is smaller than you had planned on. Maybe the layout doesn't really fit how your family lives. So before making an offer, always ask yourself, will I still be happy with this decision 5 years from now? Because resale value matters, and I say this to my clients all the time. In your head, you should always be thinking about resale, because you can tell yourself this is your forever home, or you don't plan on having kids, but life throws curveballs at you, so you always want to be thinking resale. So future flexibility does matter, and buying the wrong house can cost you far more than money. So another thing to think about is my advice to every Connecticut home buyer is to always get a home inspection, even on new construction. So let's talk about this for a second. So there are instances where you'll see a home for sale and it says that it's being sold as is. So as is means that the seller is letting you know up front that they're not going to be making any repairs, and usually they, budget for that in the asking price, which is okay. But you can still have a home inspection for informational purposes only. So why is that important? Because you want to see what an inspector sees. There's a lot of things that we can't see with the naked eye that the home inspector is trained to see. They'll spend an hour or so going through the property with you and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So speaking of the ugly, if there's a big expense, say the inspector says, you know what, the furnace is working now, but it's probably on its last leg. Its useful life is expected to last only another year, and you plan on being there obviously for more than a year. So you have to budget for that. So you can either negotiate that into the sales price, or you just make sure that you have the money to do that in the future. So right now there are approximately 90 plus homes, like I said, for sale in Southbury. And when you include Heritage Village, again, there's 59 for sale in Heritage Village, and that's a 55 plus community. But not every home is right for every home buyer. So the goal isn't simply to buy a house, it's to buy the perfect house for you and your family. So that's basically it, folks. So again, if you are thinking about moving to the Southbury and surrounding areas, I'd be happy to help you understand not only what it costs today, but what it may cost to own tomorrow. So again, my contact information is below. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's thinking about moving to Connecticut. So until next time, I'm Lisa Antrum, your friend in real estate, helping you make smarter real estate decisions. Until next time.